Have you ever been in a situation where you turned down the opportunity to have some bedroom fun? Yeah, I never thought that was possible, or that would be possible. When I was younger, I always thought that I should take advantage of every opportunity to have bedroom fun. And some years ago, yeah, not that long ago actually. Well, I was about 31, 31, 30, 32, 31, yeah. And I remember there was this woman that I met. She was a bit older than me, but she was one of these like yoga moms, you know. She had, the right attributes, if you know what I mean. Everything was working properly, everything was where it had to be, like she had. I mean, she packed a good punch, let's say, you know. And this woman she was probably the very first time I ever turned down an opportunity. Although around the same time I had similar experiences, right? But this one is quite memorable because this woman, um, yeah. So I the first time I met her, nothing happened, of course, because she was, women want to always. It's like when you haggle, it's like sales or like negotiating, right? People always want to pretend. They always give you a higher price, and then because they know that you're gonna haggle, right? So it's the same thing here. Women do that all the time, especially when they're not, you know, too happy. So sometimes when they're a little bit happy, they lower the price. And by the way, I'm not encouraging anything because nowadays they read into everything that you say, right? And so this woman, she was something else, man. I mean, she was, yeah, she I mean, she was quite a force, man. Quite a ride. I mean, she it's a memorable experience, right? So we before she left, she was not from here, by the way. She was a tourist, which made it easier, by the way, right? She eventually we met again, right? We had a drink, and she was quite receptive. I mean, I was 31, so at that time I was just beginning to learn the game, so to speak. Like I didn't have, um, I was still kind of a bit of a rookie. I was never much of a player, and to be fair, I'm not. I wish I had that kind of those kind of skills, and I think my greatest limitation is my appearance. Because other than that, other than my appearance, I mean, do I do well actually. I do well in the sense that I can usually, if I put my mind to it and if I sit on my punches, I can do a decent job, provided that the woman is has a little bit of attraction for you, right? Because otherwise, it's really hard. But anyway, the point is that this woman was obviously looking for fun. Maybe it has nothing to do with me. Maybe she was just, because women run hot and cold. Sometimes it has nothing to do with your performance. You're just flattering yourself, right? But she was ready to go apparently, and I just had to push the right buttons, which I did. So she invited me. Well, actually, she didn't invite me. I remember telling her, "Oh my god, I was kind of well." Perhaps it was not the best strategy, but it was the right euphemism to get the action going. I remember that I walked her home, which was not very far. She was renting an Airbnb, right? And I told her, so are we are we gonna have fun? I said something like that, and then she's like, yeah, but you cannot stay. You cannot spend the night because obviously she didn't really know me, you know. She had just met me a couple of times actually, and I was like, well, that makes sense, you know. But I said something like, oh, okay, that was easy. I was stupid enough to say that. I don't know if those were the exact words, but I said something like that, something to that effect, like, oh, that was easy. And then she obviously she got offended, you know. But I managed to talk her out of her anger, you know. Like, said, no, no, that's not what I mean, you know. Like usually, I don't know what I said, but you know, I managed to, you know, to to fix my you know, to well, anyway, you know what I mean. And yeah, so we had some fun. She was ready to go, man. She was ready to go. And that was that one time, yeah. So then I went home, and then after that we kept talking because she went back to her country, and she was she lived in Denmark. She was not Danish. I don't want to reveal too much because I'm a gentleman, right? But she lived in Denmark, right? And well, so we kept talking a little bit, and I started to realize that she was a bit. There was something about her, you know. She was a widow actually. I think her husband had just died. She was a bit on. You could say she was a bit of on a rebound. They say a bit of a rebound, meaning, well, you know what I mean. She was looking for fun. You know, those women. I've met a few of those that are just looking for to catch their second wind, to relive their youth. Because this woman was in her, I would say, 40s. So she probably married an older guy. Whatever, I don't know the details. The point is that she did tell me that, right? Then she came back because we were talking on the phone, and she kept saying, "Yeah, maybe I can go back and we can go dancing and we can do this and that." And you know, I was kind of selling myself as that kind of guy, although I'm not much of a dancer. You know, I may be a lover, but I ain't no dancer. No, I mean, I think I'm a decent dancer, but I'm not like there's some guys that can really dance. You know, that's not me. But you know, I kind of said, well, why not? And of course, I was well. We both knew that there was gonna be hanky panky, right? That there was gonna be some action again. Sure enough, so she came back. We had a nice date. Um, we cooked together. Oh, so romantic. And then you know, well, we had a little bit of workout. You know, we had a bit of some bedroom workout. That was that one night. So then she said, "Oh, I want to go shopping. I want to do some. I want to be on my own." I said, "Sure, sure." I had to do. Well, anyway, we split and then we met again that evening, and that's when things started to turn sour for me. Well, for both of us actually, because somehow I had problems with my stomach. You know, Jesus, something was wrong. So I had a lot of traffic, if you know what I mean, right? So I went to the bathroom, and I spent, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or more, because it's one of those times, maybe you've had this problem where things keep flowing. You know, you think it's over. It's like when you have an argument sometimes with a woman, you think it's over and she keeps coming back. Well, that same experience, you know. And she assumed that I was talking to somebody else. Apparently, this woman had been, well, you know, when women are over 40 sometimes, or even over 35, I mean, they have baggage. We all have baggage, to be fair, you know, but some of these women are very defensive and very confrontational and very combative. Um, to be fair, I was a little bit like that when I was younger, but it had to do with other things. It didn't have to do with relationships because, I mean, come on, as a man, it's not like I had been with a lot of women. I mean, it's hard to be with women as a man, right? I mean, women don't know this. Women think that that we get as many chances as they get, or some women seem to think that way. So yes, this woman had a lot of baggage, and we had dinner, and then we went back to her place because we were gonna, you know, do another dance. Save the last dance for me, kind of thing. But she started saying funny things like she had been drinking, by the way, and some women when they drink, I can hold my liquor for the most part. For the most part, I am sure I've made a clown of myself. I'm sure I've done stupid shit while I was under the influence. But to in my defense, I've never gotten in serious trouble. Okay, I mean I can hold my liquor for the most part. For the most part. Well, this woman had, I don't know how many glasses of wine she had, but she was obviously a little bit happy. And I remember when we were back to her place, she was in bed, like on all fours. And I think she said something like, I well she used I don't know if I can use that. She was like, I want to fuck. Like she was it was very, like this primal thing. Like she I don't think she really cared with whom she was going to have fun. I mean, she did say that there was something about me she liked. I think because, well, whatever. I don't know. I must have been doing something right. Or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to flatter myself because you never know with women. But anyway, the point is that she was ready to go, and but because she was being so, she started saying things like, "You want to get rid of me, huh? You want to get rid of me?" So I was like, "Oh, here we go again." So for some reason that kind of put me off. Kind of put me off, man. It put me off. Put me off. And so also because I had already had some fun last night with her, I, I just could not. You know, I mean, we did have a little bit of fun, but there was no actual um, copulation, if you know what I mean. That no, because yeah, and then and I remember that there was a little bit of foreplay, but I just couldn't. I just didn't feel right. And then there was a time when she told me, oh, because she started crying. She started crying and damseling. What women do sometimes. And I just stood there. She was just giving me the right act. And I think that was one of the first times when I learned that when women act like that, you know just plead the fifth. And now, to be fair, I do seem to attract some crazy women. So I know that some women have told me, "Oh yeah, those are the women you attract, and this and that, or those are the women you choose, or whatever." All women are a little bit crazy. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. But it is true that some women are particularly crazy. Yeah, that's true. But all women are crazy. I mean, come on, you. No one can change my mind about that because I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah, yeah. You guys are a bit crazy. But to be fair, some of you guys are not that crazy. Some of you guys are just a little crazy, and it's manageable, and it's okay. But this one was a serious offender. So because I didn't want to put myself in a situation where it could be a he said she said kind of situation, I said, I'm out of here, man. So yeah, she was angry. She was angry. So I can't. Well, anyway, if it had been a different situation, I would have been able to perform and to be comfortable with that situation. But I said, no, I gotta go, man. And I remember her saying that. She was like, oh, after she finished her dancing performance, she was like, you're different. So anyway, I went home. And then that same night or the night after, she sent me a message saying, oh, I'm sorry about last night. I didn't behave appropriately or something to that effect. And I didn't reply. I should have replied. Why not? Aftercare, aftercare. But I didn't. I don't know why. And then anyway, so that was one time. There were other times I can think of one, well, two, but one a very clear one, clear example. There were more where I turned down bedroom action. I didn't know I was capable of doing this. I think it comes with maturity. It comes with getting older. And I'm actually quite proud of that. Because I didn't know it was possible. I thought I was going to be led by my Johnson forever. And you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, we are to some degree led by our Johnson. I mean, no matter how old we are, that's always going to be a tendency. But oh my God, this is long. Well, whatever. This other woman, yeah, we had an on and off kind of relationship. I used to like her in the beginning, and then it's amazing the difference that it makes when you don't really like a woman so much. Your attitude changes, man. When you like a woman, you become a servant. You become a little puppy. And that was the very first time I experienced going through that process of going from liking her to not liking her. She was an attractive girl. You know, she was probably 2 or 3 years older than me. So as I got older, I started to even the playing field. I went from being successful with older women because, of course, I couldn't do any better to being more successful with women my age, and then even younger. Yeah, younger but legal, of course. So this one was slightly older than me, 3 years. She was quite attractive, actually. I mean, Spanish women are very attractive, I have to say. This one actually looked more like a kind of German Russian, maybe. She was kind of blonde, green eyes. Was it green eyes? I don't quite remember, but she had very beautiful eyes. Very beautiful eyes. And this woman, we were on and off friends, kind of friends, and I kind of liked her, so of course I would talk to her. But then there was a point after a year or so that I just stopped liking her. She became annoying, and I just didn't like her. And at that point, things changed. She started, looking for me more because I just lost interest. And then we get involved, and I remember after getting involved, and I didn't really enjoy the bedroom fun with her very much. She had a lot of issues, this woman. And maybe as they say, crazy women are good and bad. Well, because I mean, judging from my other experience with this other Danish girl, she was good and bad. I have to say. I mean, she was. Oh, she gave me a good workout. She was good. I have no complaints on that front, other than she was a bit dramatic and she was damseling and all that. But she was good and bad. She was. I had it all. She rocked me all night long. And this one was pretty good too, except that maybe I don't know. I think my I was not in the right space. I don't know, whatever. But I remember one time when I saw her after having been involved uh, for a few times. I She said, "Oh yeah, let's go have fun," you know. And she even said, uh, "I'm tooting my own horn here," but she even said, "Yeah, let's go here, let's have some fun. You can do whatever you want to me," you know. I mean, uh, she said something like that. Okay, she's like, "Yeah, use me and abuse me." Okay, she said, "I'm not." It's nice when you hear that. It's music to my ears. But I turned it down, man. I said, no, no, this is not. I just that woman, there was something about her, that just rubbed me the wrong way. She was fun. She was fun. She was fun to be with sometimes. But I was like, nah, no, thank you. So that was probably the second time I turned down fun. There was also this other time, excuse me, this other girl. She was younger than me. She was 26, I think, and I think I was around, yeah, I must have been around 31 or so. Yeah, she was younger than me. She was not, this one was not the most attractive girl. She was pretty average. I have to be honest, okay? I'm not. The other one was pretty attractive, but this one was pretty average, pretty average. In fact, maybe a little bit below average. But she was not fat or anything. She was okay. I mean, she was foldable. She was foldable, and she spent the night with me. That after we, well, anyway, you know what happens. And then she spent the night with me, and we there was she said something about my eyes. You know, she said your eyes, like almost. My interpretation was that I was being um, too primitive or something, or I was being, I don't know. I just, I'm a gentleman. I'm a gentleman, so I just said, okay, fuck it. We just kind of did everything except the actual act because I said I don't want to pressure her, man. I don't want to bag her either. She's not whatever. And then the next morning, we had a little bit of fun. Or we had been drinking. I had been drinking, so there was some fun. And she was wet, man. I mean, we were having some, you know, foreplay and stuff, and she was ready to go. I think she was ready to go, but for some reason, I don't know what stopped me, man. I mean, I kind of regret it actually because she would have been some good fun. I don't know why. She was wet. She was ready to go, and I just you know I just thought, well, we'll have another chance. It's okay, and maybe I had a hangover, so that's the thing about drinking, man. Don't drink and they don't go together very well unless you only have two or three. But I had more than that. So yeah, that was this, and then there was this last time, just to as a icing on the cake in Dublin. This one time in Dublin, I went with my friend, my lawyer friend. We went together to Dublin. We spent about 10 days in Dublin, and we went out. And I met these girls. They were working at a supermarket. Very young girls, blonde, 30 blondes maybe, good looking, young. Like they were no older than 25, man. This girl was like 19, 20, And we went to a bar. We kind of, well, I went. My friend stayed home. He's older. He's married. So whatever. And this woman, this young girl, I forgot her name, but she was a blonde, good shape. She was petite. She was foldable. And I remember she flashed me when we were going back home, and she was like, "Let's go fuck." I was like, "Oh, that's music to my ears." She was she was a bit happy, but I mean, she was not like, I didn't take advantage of anybody, okay? Because she could walk, she could make sense. She was just tipsy. And also, as a side note, as a disclaimer, Irish people can drink, man. Irish people can hold their liquor. So this woman, we went. I said, you know what? Let's go to walk. And then we'll decide if you still want to fuck. Because she also told me she had a boyfriend. So I was like, oh, I don't want to get stabbed, man. I don't want to get stabbed for no piece of ass, man. So we went to another bar and all that, and then she started being a little bit aggressive. A lot of these women have issues, man, and she was talking about her father and this and that, and then she started crying. She was very combative, and I said, nah, this is not the right this is not the right gig for me. So, but I just had a little bit of fun. We had a little bit of you know action, you know, dry sex you could call it, but not so expressive, if you know what I mean. I mean, you're in public. Come on. Yeah, we went to a bar. We had some fun, and yeah, I remember these girls are funny, man. They deep inside they want to protect their reputation, because I remember I was kissing her, and I was I was grabbing her ass while I was, it's very typical of guys. We do that, right? And I remember that she was facing the what do you call it, the traffic. She was facing the side of where the traffic is, right? Like the cars are passing by. And I remember that as I was touching her bun, she turned the other way because she didn't want to be seen. She didn't want people to see that she was being, well, manhandled. Anyway, and then yeah, this woman had a lot of issues. Poor girl. And so that's it. I turned it down, man. She was ready to go, but I said, you know what? I'm not gonna take a knee. I'm not gonna risk it for a piece of ass, man. And she was fine. She was a fine girl, man. And she was making all kinds of gestures, man. Like she was offering good service, if you know what I mean. Like oof, I I kind of regret it now in a way, but I think I did the right thing, man. You don't get in trouble for a little bit of fun, Nah. And there were other occasions, but anyways, this is too long. I gotta cook, man. It's that time of day. Gotta cook because I'm getting hungry. So, but yeah, man, don't. If the game is not worth the candle, you gotta exercise, as they say, salami discipline. Don't let your salami take over. You gotta. The big head has to overcome the little head always. Always. That's something that all men have to learn. Yeah. All right. Peace out.